the long overdue pre-fight prediction. Y'all know how this goes. I like to see him on the scale before I actually make a prediction of how the fight goes. Had a bad case of that where a dude looked like trash on the scale, and then in the fight, he ended up being trash because he was weight drained. So with that being said, let's get into this breakdown. Before I do that, hit the thumbs up, sub, bell. You know the drill. Now, here's what you got to look at when you look at these two. What do they do best against? What do they do worst against? I'll start with Billy Joe Saunders first because he, to me, has the easiest to say. With Billy Joe Saunders, there's only been one fight that I question whether he won or lost. And I thought he lost to Andy Lee. Period. So being that that's not really Canelo's style, we can just throw that to the trash bin and move over to Canelo, okay? Canelo has struggled against mobile fighters. There is no questioning that. There is no doubting that. Now, it's been a long time since he's been in there with a really agile fighter, and we'll get into that in a minute. But these are the fights that I see outside of Triple G that Canelo has struggled with. Austin Trout was very tight. You have some people saying Trout won, some saying Canelo won. Then you had Floyd Mayweather Jr., who outboxed him. Then you also have Lara, who just so happens to be a southpaw, just like Billy Joe Saunders. We'll get into that in a minute, too. But with the Lara fight, some people said Lara won, some said Canelo won, some saw a draw. It was a very lackluster fight, okay? So here's what we've got to look at. Billy Joe Saunders, first and foremost, has said this. And Peter Fury actually called him out on it and said it's bullshit. He's not going to do it. And I agree. But Peter Fury also said he has to mix it up with Canelo if he thinks he's going to win on the scorecards. But here's the deal. Billy Joe came out and said, I am going to knock him out. I am going to knock you out, Canelo. I am going to beat you. And I call bullshit to that. The reason why I call bullshit to that is because if you really wanted to knock Canelo out, you would get in the 18-foot ring. You wouldn't need a bigger ring so you can move around more if you're truly going for the knockout. If you're truly going to meet him in the pocket, you would want that ring as tight as possible so Canelo cannot escape you. Billy Joe Saunders has only got 14 knockouts, which is actually less than what Lara has. So he's no knockout artist, and he's not going to knock out Canelo. Not Canelo. He may knock out somebody else, but not somebody on Canelo's level. So let's get that out the question. Now, when we look at southpaws versus traditional, a lot of people will tell you that the straight is what is the southpaw killer. I call bullshit to that. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. What kills a southpaw is controlling the outside foot, meaning your lead foot is on the outside of their lead foot. So you would be standing with your left foot forward. They would be standing with their right foot forward. You want to put your left foot on the outside of their right foot. The reason for this is first off, you control turning them into your power, whereas they can't do the same to you. Secondly, what I believe the killer of the southpaw is the left hook. Your two lead hands are very close together, very close. If you strike to the side, pivot off your left toe, boom, the side of the face is right there to be taken with the left hook. You can also do this by weaving underneath and coming over the top with almost an overhand left, but twist it into a left hook. To me, the left hook is the best shot to stop a southpaw from even wanting to jab, not the straight. Because see, the thing with the straight is, yes, the straight is in between the guard, how you stand southpaw and traditional, like people like to argue. However, the straight comes from a lot further distance. So because it's so far back and you're coming at least 6 inches forward to meet your other hand, guess what? That means they have 6 inches of time to react to that straight coming down the pipe. Whereas the left hand is already there by their face. When they jab, step around, boom, hit just as fast. Shorter delay. So that, to me, is the southpaw killer. Now, in order to get off the left hook, you have to be a very good counterpuncher. Canelo has turned into a very good counterpuncher. The way that he is moving his hands to parry, body movement, head movement, it's just every time we see Canelo fight, a new wrinkle has been added to him. He looks better than the last time. I would say since, I don't even know, I couldn't even tell you a certain fight to where Canelo just looks better and better and better because you could say, I would say probably since he fought Triple G the 2 times, after the Triple G fights, every time you've seen him fight, whether it be Rocky Fielding, Daniel Jacobs, Kovalev, Callum Smith. Callum Smith was a really good example of how good his counterpunching has become, which was his last real fight. Yildirim, we don't even count that because he just got blown out the water. But because Canelo's hands are so good, I am looking for him to do 2 things, means of attack to Billy Joe Saunders. 1, left hook to the face. 2, when Billy Joe jabs, look for him to dip underneath and go to Billy Joe's body. 2 reasons. 1, the way that Billy Joe fights, his body is there to be taken by how he guards, how he shoots, when he throws his punches. So being that the body is going to be there, it's an easy target to hit if you're coming underneath and shooting, especially under his jab. And 2, if you work the body against a mobile fighter, it makes him less mobile down the stretch if you can land enough body shots to tire them, because the more tired you become, the slower you move. The slower you move, the easier you are to catch. The easier you are to catch, the easier you are to get that person hit. And that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to land shots on Billy Joe. So his 2 main of attacks I see coming are going to be hooks, left to be exact, and right straights to the body underneath the jab. Or when you see Billy Joe come in to attempt the jab, look for Canelo to sidestep to his left, dip his head, and bop, straight down the pipe to the stomach. Those are the main attacks. Now, people be like, but Tony, Canelo's more straight up and down. He comes forward and he's parrying and moving and all that. No, he's not. He does a lot in there. Very good boxer, very technical at this point. That is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing Canelo's going to push forward and try to cut off the ring the best he can. But I think his best success is going to be when he's timing Billy Joe coming in. Now, what is Billy Joe going to do? Fight off the back foot the whole time. He's not looking to get in there and mix it up. I don't think he's going to take Peter Fury's advice. If he does, I'm going to tell y'all right now, it doesn't last more than 1 time. If he gets in that pocket with Canelo and trades exchanges, tries to combo with him, tries to get the better of the exchanges with the combos, he's only going to do it once before he realizes he's outgunned, outskilled in the pocket, and he's going to bail on it and try to win on the outside, which is really his only hope. Now, you have people arguing, saying that even if he knocked out Canelo, he would get a draw. I'm not going to feed into that. Here's the thing. If Billy Joe can really come out there, backs on the back foot, like Mayweather did, and put on a Mayweather-type show, he'll beat Canelo on the scorecards. I don't care what anybody says. He will beat Canelo on the scorecards if he can keep Canelo from hitting him. I find it doubtful because most people, when they look at Billy Joe Saunders, let's say this before I even get into that. I want to come back to Lara real fast. I'm going to interject to myself. The Lara comparison to Billy Joe comparison, to me, is fucking stupid. First off, Billy Joe is 5'11", Lara is 5'9". However, Billy Joe has Oompa Loompa midget arms. He's got the arms of a dwarf. That's it. He does not have no type of reach. He's got a 71-inch reach at 5'11". His arms are short, okay? Lara had like a 75-inch reach at 5'9". So even though Billy Joe has him by 2 inches in height, Lara's got him by 4 inches in reach. And to me, I think Lara's a better side-to-side mover than Billy Joe. Billy Joe, to me, is better at sticking and getting out the pocket and moving around. But as far as side-to-side lateral movement, before escaping, throw the punches, whoop, whoop, side-to-side, then move, I think Lara's better. I think Billy Joe's better on his bicycle, jabbing while moving. Now, the last big fight that Billy Joe Saunders had was against Martin Murray. He looked very good, but again, it was against Martin Murray, who is up there in age, and his better days have been seen. To me, the best Billy Joe ever looked was against David Lemieux. And if he's thinking that he's going to replicate that, I don't think he can against Canelo. David Lemieux is a good power puncher, but he's no Canelo. Like, he's nowhere near as good as Canelo. And he's not going to be able to do that to Canelo, in my opinion. Canelo's not going to commit 100% into a shot so Billy Joe can do something stupid like he's looking across a desert after Canelo misses. Canelo's not going to put 100% of a shot into a shot that's not going to land. He's good enough to know his reach, his range, and his timing, that he's not going to just swing for the fences when the target can't be hit. He's going to wait till he's got the target in front of him, against the ropes, against the corners, the turnbuckles, if you want to use a wrestling term. But if he doesn't have them in the corner or against the ropes, you're not going to look for him to put 100% into shots. He will come forward, throw hard shots, but he's not going to wing them like that. So the David Lemieux against Canelo isn't even comparable, because Canelo's not going to do dumb shit like that. He's not going to get desperate. He's not going to swing for the fence. Even against Kovalev, when he was getting out jabbed, he kept pushing forward. So that's another thing. I watched Kovalev control Canelo with the jab. However, Canelo was still getting through on the bigger man in Kovalev over Billy Joe Saunders. He was still getting through. And with Billy Joe Saunders only having 14 knockouts in his career, I just don't think he has the power to hurt Canelo. If he can't hurt Canelo, if he can't stun Canelo, if he can't back Canelo up, then Canelo's going to keep pushing forward. He proved that against Triple G in their second fight. Triple G fought off the back foot, was counterpunching. Every time that Canelo would throw a shot, whop, counter shot would come, whop, counter shot would come. And Canelo kept pushing through that. So if Triple G couldn't back him up, I can promise y'all, I can promise you, there's no way Billy Joe Saunders can do it. So this is how I see it going. To recap and end the video before it's 500 minutes long, Canelo will keep his guard like he always keeps his guard. He will be very good at parrying. Look for left hooks to the face, underneath hooks by the left. Left hooks is what you're looking for, and straights to the body on Billy Joe Saunders early to bang him up, to hurt him. Look for when Billy Joe comes in to attack, Canelo is going to attack at the same times coming at him. For Billy Joe, what you're looking for is he's going to fight off the back foot. He's going to try to out-jab Canelo and land a straight when he can. Out-jab Canelo and land a straight when he can. It's going to be rinse and repeat for what Billy Joe is going to do. That is why he wanted the bigger ring, so he had more room to move versus getting trapped on the ropes or trapped in a corner. Or to the wrestling fans, to the turnbuckles, even though they don't really have those. But that's what he's going to do. Now, who do I think is going to win this fight? Seeing that Canelo has had issues with mobile fighters, do I think Billy Joe Saunders can replicate that? No, I do not. This is not the same Canelo that fought Lara. He is much more experienced. And like I said, Danny Jacobs, very good boxer. Watch how he fought Triple G. Danny Jacobs could not escape Canelo because of how he came forward and moving his body. In my opinion, Daniel Jacobs has a way better jab than Billy Joe Saunders. And if Danny Jacobs couldn't keep him off of him, Danny Jacobs hits harder than Billy Joe Saunders as well. Again, if Daniel Jacobs couldn't do it, there's no way in fuck Billy Joe Saunders is going to do it. The only thing I can see is Billy Joe maybe being fast enough to circle and stay away. And like I said, land jabs here and there and just stay out of damage and try and pray and hope that he wins on points by just hitting Canelo enough to where Canelo's not getting enough shots off. But again, after seeing how Canelo handled Daniel Jacobs, I really do not think this is the same Canelo. I don't think he's going to have any issues, maybe early, but as the fight goes on, as the sweat starts dropping faster and them legs get more tired, and you also get tired more when you're backing up. It takes a lot more stress on your legs when you're backing up and drains your gas tank a lot quicker than moving forward. So when them legs start to get heavy and when they start to get tired, Canelo's going to get closer and closer and closer to him. And he's not going to be able to escape. Again, with Billy Joe Saunders, I haven't seen the same fighter that I saw fight David Lemieux. Ever since David Lemieux, to me, he's been going downhill. I don't care how good he looked against Martin Murray. To me, I don't see the same type fighter. I don't see the same abilities. Now, some people attribute that to the sniff, sniff. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say I have not seen the same fighter. I haven't. So my final conclusion to this is I've got Canelo Alvarez winning. I would not be surprised if he knocks out Billy Joe Saunders, but I think it might be a tall order for him to do that to Billy Joe because I know how Billy Joe's going to fight. So if the over-under is enough and you are a betting person, by all means, bet on Billy Joe getting knocked out late. I highly doubt he would get knocked out early, but I think more than likely it's going to be a unanimous decision for Canelo Alvarez. I think it's going to be a cut and dry fight that Canelo is going to control, and there's not going to be any controversy when it comes to this. I just don't think Billy Joe Saunders has what it takes. I thought several years ago that he would have gave Canelo a run for his money, but the Canelo today is too good for Billy Joe Saunders. Too good for him, in my opinion. Now, we'll see if I'm right or I'm wrong, but I'm putting my official 50-8 record now on the line. So we're going to see what happens. But to close out the video and say one last time, my prediction, Canelo, 12 rounds, unanimous decision. And I told you how I think he's going to wear down Billy Joe Saunders. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section. And thank y'all for watching.